is a day, yo.
We all watch
Daylight
to school.
And me wanna go home. Day is a day, is a day, is a day, yo. Daylight come and me wanna go home.
I don't know, if you feel that's inappropriate for Asian people doing it, like, well, Beetlejuice. Like, Beetlejuice isn't OVERDRIVE.
I don't know, yeah. It's, anyway, welcome to our podcast. This is,
if we're still here.
This is At the Movies with Mudita and PRphD. I'm your host, Mudita Hart.
I'm the other host.
This is PRphD.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about
The Ghost.
The 1988 film Beetlejuice, based on
What's based
nothing.
On?
It's not based on anything.
Best not screenplay. What's the best adapted from? Nothing.
It's not adapted for anything.
Best Oscar for a dead screenplay. Based on nothing.
I mean, it's probably inspired by like some
guys.
folk tales and stuff like that, but it is like an original story by Tim Burton. Or like there's like a director, I believe. There's like a writer based on a story by McDowell and Larry Wilson.
That's not Malcolm McDowell.
Michael McDowell.
Michael McDowell.
Described by author Stephen King as the finest writer of paperback originals in America today. His best-known work is the screenplay for the Tim Burton film Beetlejuice. So now you know who he is. And like the sequel, Beetlejuice is coming out this year. Like tomorrow, I believe. You can watch it as soon as tomorrow. So we watched this movie, and we just want to talk about it and give our thoughts on it, because that's what you do on the internet now when you are, I don't know, just for fun, I guess, or making money, or I don't know why people do it. We don't know why. It's just fun. I don't know. But yeah, here's Beetlejuice. Do you like this intro? But yeah, here we go. We're also here talking about the business and design of entertainment, and that's what we like to do. But for this movie,
confuse people with the big word.
Yeah, but for this movie, we were more having fun with it.
Don't mess with me, guys. I just had some Pig Beach barbecue.
Yeah. Pig Beach barbecue here in Queens, New York. Yeah. But if anything, it's a fun movie to talk about because it has a lot of interesting elements, from the production to the visuals to the cast and crew to the storytelling, and also how it's like aged weirdly in some ways, and stuff like that.
Some stuff hasn't aged at all. That's still pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into it. Let's watch our trailer. Let's start with one of these. Let's start with
Give them one of these.
Let's start with one of these, the original theatrical trailer. So let's check this out.
The director of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Adam and Barbara are ghosts.
What's the good of being a ghost if you can't frighten people away?
Their house is being haunted by the living.
Maybe the house could use a little remodeling.
And they can't scare them into leaving.
But Dad, it's a little late to be neurotic.
So they're calling on Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice!
Who's no ordinary ghost.
You don't want his help.
Can you be scary?
What do you think of this?
Now, the party's over.
You want somebody out of the house? I want to get somebody out of your house.
But the fun has just begun.
It's showtime.
Learn to throw your voice for your friends on your party.
Not bad. This is amazing.
Want a cigarette?
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, here I come, baby.
He's guaranteed to put some life
Dante's Inferno Girls Room.
in your afterlife. Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
It's a very 80s Gen X kind of movie.
Cancel.
So a very 80s movie. And So
as a bio-exorcist, he kicks the humans out of the place.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, actually. No one's ever done that before. No one's ever tried to do that since.
Yeah, as per the description on Wikipedia, the first installment of the Beetlejuice franchise, the 1988 film's plot revolves around a recently deceased couple, the Maitlands, as ghosts, they are not allowed to leave the house. They contact Beetlejuice, a charismatic bioexorcist, to scare the house's new inhabitants away. The recently deceased couple, the Maitlands, are played by Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. They are a childless couple in the movie.
And big stars.
Yeah, two very big stars at the time, and kind of still to this day.
Gina Davis not as much.
Gina Davis not as much, and maybe for
very. I don't know why she was blacklisted or whatever.
Yeah, maybe for reasons like because of stuff like that happens in this movie, and then there's Michael Keaton, who plays Beetlejuice, who's like the star of this movie.
1 year right before Batmania.
Right? Yeah, this is 1988. Batmania starts in 1989. And then the other family, there's a family of yuppies, played by Catherine O'Hara and Jeffrey Jones.
The true star of the film, Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah, he plays...
Without him, he just ties the whole film together.
He's like Principal Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And like...
It was... Oh, it was it
Rooney or Mooney? I forget. Rooney or Mooney?
It was Rooney!
It was Rooney.
Just like Jones. The Dave Chappelle meme.
He plays Rooney. He does play Rooney. And he has
way so it was Mooney in Dave Chappelle. I screwed that up. Right.
And he obviously has way too much time in his hands in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And then he appears in this, and you're kind of like, oh, I forgot he was in this.
I didn't remember he was in this. He was a character.
I watched this movie again. I was like, oh yeah, there he is. I kind of totally forgot about the plot of this movie.
I don't remember Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis also.
Right.
Everyone's like Michael Keaton's the star.
Yeah, I didn't really remember that they were in this movie, really, also.
I had to remember if it was Alec Baldwin or Bill Pullman.
And then, Alec Baldwin and Bill Pullman kind of look similar in this. And then also the daughter is played by Winona Ryder, who like doesn't really quite fit in with the Dietzes. It's like a new take on paranormal movies. Very Gen X. It's like a comedy. It's like horrifying, sort of like they're
kind of kick the humans out.
Yeah, it's sort of like they're tapping into Poltergeist and The Exorcist, but instead like they're trying to scare the humans out in a comedic fashion, and like it's also supposed to be like a Tim Burton kind of like goth horror kind of like comedy thing where he's like running on like all his like it's Tim Burton at his like most Tim Burton-iest.
Yes.
And like in a very 80s like 80s like Gen X director way, because like they do a lot of like inappropriate humor and stuff like that.
It doesn't have to do with indigenous burial grounds like those with Poltergeist and The Shining.
Yeah, I think that's how Steven Spielberg grounded some of things like Poltergeist and whatnot, because like it was based around like indigenous people's like I don't know,
mistreatment or whatever.
Yeah, so this is more about like general light. I don't even know how to describe it. Like they pass away.
It's still dark too, like that death scene in the beginning and like stuff in the end. Like
and like
At the same time, like actually the death scene in the beginning is a little worse, and then like later on it's like not scary, but like it's all visually shocking.
Yeah, and like they have a lot of
portrayal of the underworld of is it not the underworld, the afterlife.
Yeah, I would describe this movie as spooky plus PG-13. PG-13
Tim Burton spooky.
Tim Burton PG-13 Gen X spooky with like a lot of like misogyny too. So yeah, that's how I would describe it. During the course of this movie, you follow the I totally forgot their names. The Maitlands. They pass away.
Yeah, there's the Maitlands and there's the Dietzes, and then I don't even remember the Maitlands in the animated show.
Yeah, the Maitlands aren't even in the animated show.
Yeah,
but the Maitlands are like on this journey. They're trying to like scare.
It's not
off
a really
the
common name. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of it's like the first half of the movie is just them like navigating what the afterlife is like and like figuring things out, and you don't even see Beetlejuice until like halfway through the movie. So like part of me thinks of that as like, even though that trailer was like really like
I think as a kid like I hated that. I was like, where's Beetlejuice? Like the title of the movie is Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Who's Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis? I don't care.
Right. Like this trailer is really punchy and all that, but Like,
and they take a while to build up. I like the TV show, the cartoon show. They take a while to build up to the whole Beetlejuice theme song.
Yeah. Like, the Beetlejuice theme song in this, like, is at the beginning, but they're just, like, panning over, like, a city or whatever. Yeah. And nothing's happening. And then, like, like, the first half of this movie is just based around the Maitlands, who's, like Alec Baldwin here and Gina Davis. And then they finally meet Beetlejuice, and, like, and he's acting all kooky, I guess. They're trying to make him all not appropriate. But, like, he's straight up, like, harassing her, like, for, like, a good, like, 10 minutes of this movie. Like, it's pretty messed up. Like,
Baldwin and Davis were like, we went over our heads. We should have gotten this Beetlejuice guy, and they regret it, and then they try to make up for it in the end.
Yeah, I guess, like, how do you portray a very crass harasser character while also not just straight up, I don't know, like, also triggering people for,
also
like,
he was
that kind
on
of stuff.
Michael Keaton was on the Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood show, which is sort of weird also.
Michael Keaton was on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I think he himself as an actor is, like, a relatively low-key kind of guy. But, like, I do wonder how much of this is, like, who made this Beetlejuice character, like, I don't know, really crass and stuff, like misogynist in this. Like, in this movie, how much of it was Tim Burton versus the executives? I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't know, and some of that, like, Batman Returns also probably too.
Right. Yeah. So, and I kind of appreciate the animated show more in some ways because they tone his character down a lot. Okay, we'll cut that out. I kind of appreciate his character in the animated show more because they tone him down a lot and they clean him up for the kids and stuff. So
he even shaves.
But, like, yeah, he's eating bugs. He's like spinning his head around.
It's sort of like this Nickelodeon character.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, they realized they had something really kooky and fun that, like, was appealing to kids. I believe you could kind of see it.
You could dress up as Beetlejuice. And he has all these merchandising possibilities.
Yeah, but, like, very integral to the plot is not only his misogyny of the Gina Davis character, but it's also, like, he's trying to marry the Lydia character, which is played by teenage Winona Ryder, which is part of, like, this child marriage plot, which is very...
They have done a lot in the 80s and 90s. It was really weird.
Oh, really? What else was it in? You mentioned that before off camera.
I can't remember. The main thing that hurt a lot of people recently was Disney Plus showing... was it Blank Check, where the young kid, like, kisses, like, the female adult?
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a weird, like, oh, isn't this funny? It's like an 80s movie. It's like, I don't know about that 80s, people. So, I don't know. That stuff doesn't age well, but the visuals are amazing. Like, Tim Burton's version of the afterlife, figuring out all the rules over the span of the movie. There's, like, a handbook they have, and, like, all the gags of, like, what the afterlife is like, and, like, how people passed away and what they look like when they passed away.
The world building.
And stuff. The world building's really great. Has really amazing set design. How they set up, like, hell as, like, or, like, I don't know. It's not even hell exactly. Like, in this place between heaven and hell.
They don't say it right. That way they could get away with it. Yeah.
And, like, I think they do say, like, they're in between heaven and hell, and that, like, they treat it like a big office, like almost like a DMV kind of place. Like, it's not like in through the middle part of the movie.
Maybe it's like their version of Purgatory or something.
Yeah, sort of like Purgatory. Yeah. So, like, definitely like a very Western version. I mean, this is clearly a very Western version of, like, ghosts and, like, the afterlife and stuff like that, but, like, added with a little Tim Burton twist. So, like,
it's more on the Burton side than the Western side, though, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, more around the Western version of, like, Ghost.
Oh, you mean like opposed to, like, the Eastern version?
Yeah, where it's like, you know, like, I don't know, it's not like a Buddhist hell or something like that. Yeah, that kind of thing.
It's amazing, like, he doesn't have a theme park yet. He's in things, but there's no Beetlejuice theme park.
Yeah. I feel like there's problems with that and stuff like that, but, like, I think they've toned it down in additional things in the franchise and whatnot.
Possibly even with this sequel, from what I hear.
Yeah, I would hope so. because a lot of this stuff wouldn't age well. Some of the stuff that would age well is like how they discuss yuppies and the art world and real estate and equity. That was interesting too, and like like fund managers and stuff like that.
Haunted Mansion steals all that from this.
Right. So this is like sort of like Haunted Mansion meets like Tim Burton, and Tim Burton going to art school and dealing with like fancy yuppie art students and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
it's really weird, right? Like, if you're Tim Burton is like criticizing himself in this or something.
Maybe he's criticizing the other people, or like, the pretentious people, or like, I'm criticizing the normies in like this suburban Connecticut neighborhood where like I'm an emo goth and stuff like that, and this movie's.
Suddenly this movie like created like the emo goth culture, right?
Yeah, I guess this is one of the movies that kind of created it. So along with like
Addams Family and stuff.
Addams Family and whatnot. It's also very queer in that kind of sense too.
You said there's like one of those characters where
Otho as a character is a queer coded kind of character in this movie too. And in terms of equity, like here's Winona Ryder saying, "My father bought this place. He never walks away from equity." So we're gonna see the musical.
It looks like Alec Baldwin playing Beetlejuice.
All right, let's see the musical, and I think they probably tone it down for this, and they rearranged some of the stuff which you might see, so let's keep an eye out for that.
It's showtime.
Oh yeah, showtime, and then the football players.
I'm gonna need some help. Hi.
Bring a whole position thing out of the football players.
So yeah, that's an example right there.
Because I myself am strange and unusual.
Whoa.
All right.
The
fade out, shake, and all
I guess
right.
this is the ending of the movie.
Right, and then
I guess Harry Belafonte gets like licensing or whatever.
Right, and just an example of like how they tone things down in future installments of the franchise. In this scene in the movie, he like grabs like Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice grabs Gina Davis and kisses her non-consensually. In this, they made him kiss the other Maitland, the guy who was originally Alec Baldwin. So this is still weird, but like at least it's not misogynist. But it's still not consensual though.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah.
So that's the other thing about this.
It's sort of like The Mask, and sort of like Michael Keaton playing Jim Carrey.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like a kind of, and also The Mask is like kind of an example of like another kind of 80s Gen X franchise where they like originally the original comic was very brutal and violent and stuff, but then they toned it down for like movies and cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, there was a cartoon for it too.
Yeah. So.
And I think like Jamie Kennedy plays The Mask or the son of The Mask or something.
Oh really?
Yeah. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
It was Jamie Kennedy and like I forget what the other one is. Yeah.
Huh.
There's like 2 sequels that no one ever watched.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all toned down and other stuff, and like it's like kind of reminds me of like this weird period in the 80s and 90s where like they took a bunch of like 80s like R-rated PG-13 movies and toned them down a lot. So here's Beetlejuice the animated series. Here's the Police Academy TV series, which was made for kids, and like clearly the movie like made references to like I don't know sexual stuff.
Yeah.
And
the first 2. I hear.
Yeah, they toned it down for later movies because it was just like they made it more fun or whatever.
People just want to see the guy who did the sounds.
Yeah, they want to see Michael Winslow and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And and like Hightower and all that. And then here's RoboCop,
Yes. He's got
a gun.
He's gonna die in like a horrible way on USA Network or whatever.
Yep, there he is. And it's, I don't know, like, instead of like being like this brutal 80s thing, it's like a fun kids show.
By Paul Verhoeven.
You gotta sell some toys somehow,
Yeah.
We just dove into 80s animated TV series in general after a while, American animated TV series, and just got into more and more tangents. But that could be a whole nother stream or podcast on its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's it's a good mix of all these different elements. We kind of covered pretty much everything about this movie we want to cover.
If we're doing something else, we'll probably just do like reactions to 80s action.
Yeah.
Adaptations
and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Beetlejuice, like, how would you describe it in a nutshell? It's, let me see. How would we describe it?
I used to think it had, like, no taste, but, like, I don't know, like, some of the writing's pretty interesting that I think about with that trailer and everything. I mean, they straight up told you what to think, and, they tone down the bad stuff. It can be pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a horror comedy,
bio-exorcism, Tim Burton at his Tim Burtonist film.
Yeah, I feel like Tim Burton did Batman, where he toned himself down a lot.
Yeah.
And then he went back to trying to go back towards Beetlejuice stuff again in Batman Returns. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, we don't like that, because Batman made a lot of money, and this didn't make a lot of money. You can't sell, like, dead penguin toys at McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah.
So, Beetlejuice also has a lot of misogyny, and also a kooky franchise at the same time that they made into a kids' TV show. And in the show, they don't even have the Maitlands, and they just have Lydia being best friends with Beetlejuice, and like, you kooky guy, I love you. You're so fun. Even though in the whole point of the movie, she's trying to get away from entering a child marriage with him, and that, like, she tricks him into and stuff like that. And, like, apparently they, like, alluded to being like this, like, he needs to get citizenship in, like, the land of the living, so he has to marry a living girl to, like, do it or whatever. So it's very weird. But yeah, that's the movie in a nutshell. But it's really got great visuals, and it's doing some clever things here and there. But it's pretty violent, it's pretty crass, and has misogyny. A lot of stuff doesn't age well, but that's Tim Burton in 1988 for you. Yeah. And that's what you're going to get. And now you can watch the sequel after it and all that. So yeah, that's Beetlejuice in a nutshell.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Mudita signing off. Should people check out Beetlejuice?
I feel like
it's interesting.
Like, like the whole afterlife stuff when there's like a Catholic school was interesting, and I felt like I've never seen a bio-exorcist before where no one's ever tried it where like the ghosts try to kick out the humans in like some sort of like ground where they have to kick them out of the house.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting ideas in this.
They've never replicated. Yeah,
they have a new take on the afterlife. They have a new take on like what their goals of the ghosts are and why
the
they're
origins of like how Disney stole all their ideas from this movie for Haunted Mansion films.
Right, and like so they're doing a lot of cool things, and they have an all-star cast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's worth seeing for like the interesting ideas they have in it. But if you're sensitive to like I don't know, death references, suicide references, misogyny, stuff like that, just watch out for that. But yeah, Tim Burton at his Tim Burton-iest.
For better or worse.
Yeah, a little raw before he gets into his more mild stuff later on.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, worth checking out, and now you can watch the sequel.
Or tomorrow you can, or whenever we publish this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So on a final note, this is Mudita.
And this is PRphD.
And happy watching, and support your local artists and creators. And man smart, the woman is Smarter man, smart. The woman is smarter man, smart.
I forgot to mention. I remember that more from Simpsons than I do from Beetlejuice.
Yeah, they don't really.
I don't know what it was. I think I just was in Harry Belafonte when I was younger to remember that.
They just they
also
don't
like
yeah.
Homer's don't BS voice.
I like the Homer version of it better, and they don't even get to.
And
the
you're
chorus.
a big Harry Belafonte fan, yeah.
Yeah, they don't even have the chorus of it in this movie.
Because like in the film they don't.
In the film they don't have the chorus.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even notice that it's that part of the part where Homer's singing it and stuff. All right, cool. All right. Yeah, we gotta say goodbye.
Let's get out of here.
Overstay our welcome. So all right,
Scram!
Get out of
Adios.
here. What are you doing? Get out of here.
Get
You're
out.
still here? Get out. And watch the next thing on YouTube because that helps engagement. All right. Catch you later, folks. Bye-bye. Deo. Say Deo.